Yo, this is Kaelin Ellis, and I just want to let you guys know I'm going back on tour, man. I will be performing in Paris, France. Yes, I'm going overseas, and I will be in London. So if you guys want to peep game, cop some tickets. I would love to see you guys in person. I'm trying to play some music. I would love to see the Makers Club in person. But that's it. Let me get back to it. If you have not joined the Makers Club, let me tell you what the Makers Club is. 3,000 creatives that are a part of not just the Patreon, but also the Discord. We have tons of crazy talented people who constantly drop insane fire. And if you want to be able to cook up, create, make stuff, highly suggest you to cop a sample pack or cop something from my store, whether it be merch, whether it be clothes, whether it be music, whatever. Like, cop something. You will receive an email to your email of like the dopest community of creating and cooking up. Like, I guarantee you're gonna walk away with like some form of inspiration. So I just wanted to say that, and let's get back to it. As you guys know, I drop sound packs, and periodically I like to come out with volume packs. And so I have a volume 10, the volume 10 sound pack that I've been working on. I have not been able to do it because of the preparation of the storm. So if you're watching this right now, October 10th comes around and you don't see me post about the sound pack, that means that I'm probably, recovering from whatever next to not earthquakes, my God, let it not be an earthquake. That'd be terrible. But hurricanes, the next few hurricanes that's about to hit Florida, prayerfully, I'll be able to have it done before the end of this month because literally October 25th, 26th, I'll be playing at Les Hazard Unique in Paris, France. And I'll be playing London, UK at the 100 Club with Gareth Donkin, y'all. Yeah, bro. Sebastian Polychronopoulos said, I missed you in Texas. Are you doing more tour dates in the US? I was about to book more tour dates for November, but I was like, you know what, team? Let's wait till next year to book some shows, unfortunately. Aww. But it's okay though. It's gonna allow me to be able to like kind of get my bearings, because I will definitely say from my own experience of like, having my own shows and getting booked, I don't have, and I'm gonna be just 100% transparent, I don't have a booking, well, I have a booking agent, but I don't have anybody that's with me on the premises whenever I do shows. Whoever's there is gonna be whoever's there. I roll into venues a solo person, and so that's just how I operate. I operate solo, and not saying that's what I want. It's just what it is right now, and I can't really control that. So, yeah. Once I can get and this is really my hope, having a team built around what the shows are so they can make them as great as possible. And yeah, but I appreciate y'all for being here, joining in every single week. It just means a lot to me. It means a lot that you guys spend your time here with me on the stream. And I don't know if I have anything to really discuss or talk about. Maybe there's only one topic I've been curious about. If you guys are open to having a slight conversation real quick. Let's see here. So, I'm gonna set a timer for 20 minutes. Hey Siri, set a timer for 20 minutes. Cool. All right, so I'm gonna turn these drums down a little bit. So I have to ask you guys a question, because I find that this is something that I tend to see a lot, and I want to know your experience with it. And it's only just one word. And now that I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking about how I can even ask you guys, what is your experience with fear? And I ask this because you guys know that I use AI, and I'm fully aware of what AI is, how AI is made, the corporations that are controlling certain ordinates of AI. I'm very aware of it. But the reason why I bring this up is because this previous week, I had an opportunity to go to this thing called the Playlist Retreat. Shout out to DJ Jazzy Jeff. He held it at his crib, his spot, and he invited me, he invited Oh Gosh Leotis, a whole bunch of homies, and I'm gonna be talking about that. I'm gonna post a video about that probably tomorrow or something like that. But so there was one particular panel that he had at his spot, and one of the panels, hilariously enough, was with a gentleman that we all know created the song BBL. And so, yes, the one and only King Wallonius was there in attendance to attend the retreat, and also hung out with us for a couple extra days after the thing. He didn't even speak much during the panel, now that I think about it. But we had this panel, and the panel was called AI WTF. And what AI WTF was, it included King Wallonius, right? And a producer, a very well-known producer. If you guys know the group Sarah, Sarah had the guy who produced who's been working with King Wallonius. His name is Omas Keith. And if you guys, hilariously enough, remember Making the Band, like P. Diddy's TV show Making the Band, there was judges that were judging the musicians for the show on MTV. And I remember growing up watching Omas Keith work with the musicians on the show. So I got a chance to meet him. I got a chance to shake his hand. Even though they really tried to make him look like a villain on the TV show, I shook his hand. I was like, yo, it's crazy seeing you in person. But Omas Keith was there. And then you had a couple other people. I know there was an attorney and a sports manager or a lawyer or something like that. It was one of those things. I remember when the panel began, Omas Keith, King Wallonius, the attorney, and the lawyer, they all introduced each other. And walking across the boroughs for cheesecake is wild. Honestly, the things people had to do in order to get to what... And actually, this is just a very random thought before I go back. If P. Diddy made those folks walk across the Brooklyn Bridge for a cheesecake, just for them to walk back, it was 2 hours. That was a 2-hour walk, I think. I think that's what they said. Imagine what they made Diddy do. I'm just curious. I think they might have made him do some even terrible stuff, But that's just besides the point. Kaelin. But back to the panel. They were talking about AI and King Wallonius, and there was nothing at this point but some of the best musicians on the planet. They were literally in one room. We were all sitting in a room watching the Playlist Retreat have this conversation. And so everybody was in attendance. James Poyser, you name it. Plus from De La Soul, the De La Soul members were there. You name it, anybody within our neo soul, smooth hip hop producing. If you've seen someone make beats and they have a large following, they were in that room, and we were all listening to this panel. Even Moonchild, they were there too. Everybody was. Oh Gosh Leotis was there, Mad Keys was there, and we were all listening to Omas, King Wallonius, the attorney, and the lawyer all talk about AI and where AI stands and the problems that AI has. And I think ultimately it made me have a deeper perspective of something that I did not really understand, because you guys know I've been talking about this for a while, right? About it's a tool that you got to use, But then also on the flip end, they're utilizing music that was not properly, I'll just say, you did not give these companies permission to utilize your work to generate music, which I believe is wrong. And that was really the whole main point. Now, the reason why I bring this up is that the more that everybody started talking about this, I witnessed some of the greats in that room become like almost like paralyzed with fear. And it was weird because as everybody was talking, you could hear and see what made people fearful about AI being in music and people making music that AI people use to build machines using AI. And so I remember sitting, and I was actually sitting next to cartoons, and I remember having a question, and this is what made me shift my perspective on it, within using it responsibly. But I was like, yo, if majority of the music that they have inside of the Udios and the Sunos and all these other machines, is there a quite possibility that the music I made, me, your boy, is it possible that my music is in it? And Cartoons was like, I think it's very possible that our music is included in that as well. And I was like, dog! Now, at first thought, I was really like, dang, someone's probably like generating music right now that sounds like me. But also too, I realized how paralyzed they might be using my music, which of course is like, dang, I can't really do much about it. But also at the same time, I'm recognizing that someone made a machine to do that. And if someone made a machine to do that, a lot of other people were starting to bring up a bunch of other stuff that was closely related to it. Like when streaming came out, when they had when streaming, like what's the name of the first platform where people could like download music for free online, and it created a massive thing that led to streaming platforms? Does anybody know the name of it? I'm blanking on it at the moment, but that's what I'm thinking of. And one of the DJs mentioned there that when that came out, and was it LimeWire or was it something else? It's something else. It's not LimeWire, but it's a whole nother thing. It's like a blue logo. Now they're like a legal Napster. That's what it was, Napster. And so there was a DJ, very prominent DJ, by the way, and he basically stood up and he was like, well, we don't like the business. The business has always been to take from the artist. Matter of fact, and this was actually a crazy fact that I didn't know, when half of these songs ended up on streaming platforms, right? Let's say guys like a Tribe Called Quest, let's say Common, let's say D'Angelo, let's say all these guys that were crushing it in the neo-soul space. When that music hit streaming platforms and there were DJs that were like producing those records, a lot of those records weren't even cleared to end up on streaming platforms. So what's happening right now with AI is exactly like what happened with streaming. So it made me realize like, oh shucks, this isn't just AI. AI is just a byproduct, okay? But the real issue, the real problem is that there are companies that are literally taking the hard work of other people and making money off of it. And when I began to understand that even your favorites, bro, didn't even have permission to have their music like properly like registered for Spotify and Apple, and it makes you really think. It makes you give it like a second glance. So that was the context. What I started realizing was like, you know what? How does everybody feel? And I literally listened to some of the greats, like some of the greats of our time, literally say, I'm not making money at all, like real serious money from music, and there's already a machine that's making twice the amount off of my own name. Something needs to be done about this. And from what I can gather, there are a few companies that are involved. I can't really tell you who it was, because that retreat was very like low key. I can't really talk about it. Okay, can't really talk about who it was, but there is a company that we all use their tools, use their stuff. I'll let you guys imaginate who that could possibly be. They were in attendance having this conversation, and because that exists, one of the things that is about to be passed prayerfully soon is that these companies that generate music using the likeness of an artist, their name, their sound, their music in their machine, that anytime an artist makes something and someone ends up using it, and not only just using it, but like, let's say it ends up in an AI machine and someone uses their name, that they will be able to receive royalties to this. Now, honestly, once that passes, I think everybody's gonna be fine. But still, there's some giant looming things. And I think one of the giant things that was looming over that room in that conversation, I realized we never came to a good conclusion about what do we do? What do we do to get out of this? And I think ultimately what I realize my brand stands for, and I didn't get a chance to say this in that room, so I'm going to say what I wanted to say in that room for now. And one of the things that I want to do is empower people who make music, people who create, because ultimately, I just want to let you guys know we have the upper hand. Why? Why does someone like you watching this? Why does someone like me streaming right now? Why is that? Why is that? It seems like a lot of gray area. It is. And I acknowledge that there's mad gray area. But I think until we can collapse down on it. Now, I'm not saying use it. It's a choice to use it or not. So that's one thing. I think on the flip side, for what we can do as creatives, what we need to realize is our power. We need to realize what our power is. And I want to let you guys know, if you're a creative, you make music, your ability has the ability to create a world, okay? What your fingers, your brain, you programming, clicking away on an Ableton FL Studio, you have the power here. So, you have the power, okay? So, within that being said, there's always options now. And I think because the music that I've produced for major label artists are very slim to few, there's a likelihood that, snippets can be cool until you in the wrong communities, but I may be tweaking. Yeah, you are. I'm reading too much. I'm reading really fast right now. But yeah, so ultimately what I'm trying to say is this. You have the power in the upper hand, and creativity is everywhere. It is. It really is. That was literally what I'm about to say, Sento. That's crazy. But yeah, we have the power here. So within understanding our power, what can we do when we understand what our power is? Understand that there is a responsibility here. And I want to let you guys know there's options right now in this very moment. I don't know if you guys recall, some eons ago, I was promoting when AI samples and everything were like starting to come up. Two Shot app. Do you guys remember I used to use Two Shot app a lot? With great power comes great responsibility, yes. But you guys remember when I was talking about Two Shot app, and Two Shot literally popped up on the chat. It was like, yo, we have a music generating app that can generate music. Now, I don't know how and what that machine is built off of, but I know when I first met the guy who generated it, it was like an open source machine. And so, hilariously enough, if you want to know where the open source machine came from, think OpenAI. You You can look it up. It's called Jukebox. And it's open source. So you can download it for free to your computer if you want. But might I just kind of throw this in there? So basically, Two Shot popped up recently, and I realized Two Shot is about to do something kind of revolutionary. And I actually haven't touched Two Shot in a while, and I might honestly be going back, and this is why. So you guys know how I was just talking about the whole fear of like a company taking your money and everything like that. Well, with Two Shot, they decided to come up with a program that allows people to use your likeness. And if people use what you've made, let's say you have a sample and they generate a sample that sounds like you. What'll happen is they put your name in, they're paying for the service, and every time they render, that is a royalty in your pocket. Which made me realize, oh my gosh, we're about to touch a new age of royalties. Which made me realize we need to own our likeness in every possible way. And so I'm glad that I've never signed my soul away. I'm glad that I've only stuck with just being independent. And there's a reason why that is. But I realized like, yo, and it was so funny. I logged back into the Two Shot app because he was like, yeah, you could do royalties for it. I didn't realize people had been generating stuff with my name. And I ended up with like $12. It wasn't a lot of people. It was like maybe 6 or 7 people that like generated something that sounds like me, and they're using those samples, which I'm giving them permission to. If I give them permission, that's a whole nother thing. But I realized I allowed them to generate stuff off of my music. And because that exists, I'm not even mad if I'm getting paid for it. Like that actually like kind of like answered the question. And no major company gets their extra hand in the pot for it. It's just purely me. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, ultimately what I would say is this. There's a big thing with fear going on right now. And if you're currently in music, in life as a creative, there's no doubt in my mind that we're going to come across things like fear tactics, things that are going to completely sway us away from the idea of participating in something that we like to call creativity. But I want you to understand something. I have a responsibility just as much as you guys who make beats and post them online, just like I make beats and post them online and make videos and create this community. If I stop doing this, what we were trying to do fails automatically. It fails. So if I could give anybody an encouraging word about fear paralyzes. And I'm just telling you this because I've watched it paralyze some of the world's best. And if we don't understand that you are so important, what you create is so valuable, we cannot allow fear to paralyze what is growing on the inside of us, outside of us. Think about all the friends and the community you've built, man. Yeah. And you know, when it comes to fear, like especially with this Milton storm, everybody's been hitting me up like, yo, dog, you good? Yo, dog, you all right? You ready? You done? Dog, you could really, really get stagnated with fear, but I refuse to sit here and act as if the world is coming to an end, because it isn't unless God says so. Until he decides like, hey, Kaelin, it's time, then that's cool. But if not, I'm gonna rock this thing out until the wheels come off. I don't even care if the wheels break a couple times. Maybe I could get a replacement. I'm gonna be making beats forever. I'm gonna be cooking up and making things that I enjoy creating, because that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to create, attract. That creation attracts and it brings people together. That's why we're here. And if you understand that what you create creates your life, creates your world, creates what you experience, then the last thing you want to entertain is not making something. You catch my drift? Like, if you stop creating, then there's no life. I made a video a while back about being inspired. Inspired comes from being in a state of motion. If you don't make something, that motion ceases to exist. And I'm telling you this because I've watched the world's best become paralyzed. Don't become them. If you're watching this stream, this is it, bro. There's a reason we come on this stream. There's a reason we've been coming here for the last 3 years. And the craziest part, this is the craziest part, Doc. I was literally thinking about, man, man, I don't want to teach. Like, I don't want to teach music because I realized, like, I love making music, but to explain it kind of takes me out of this creative haven. But you know what? I never realized how many people at this very moment, you would be surprised who right now is watching this stream. And when you realize, and that's what I had to realize, when I realized that people were watching the stream because it helps them stay in motion, something hit me where I was like, I can't not stream today. That's why I know Hurricane Milton is coming tomorrow. Whatever damage is gonna happen, I gotta live with it. I got homeowners insurance, so I'll let the insurance take care of it. Now, the instruments in this room is a little bit of a different story. I'm throwing everything in my car. But I say all this to say, bro, this is literally for a reason. What this has done has helped me discover my purpose by helping others discover theirs. And so you will be surprised who is watching you, listening to what you're doing, and what you did matters. People listen and they will remember, okay? So I say all that to say, like, don't allow fear to paralyze what is in motion. And if you found yourself like getting out of motion, it's perfectly okay. That's human, dog. That is human. You're just proving you're human. Now, acknowledge that you've stopped motion and just get back to it. Just make a bunch of music, make a lot. And so, yeah, this is what the stream is for. And I appreciate y'all pulling up every single week when I get on here. Oh, all that made sense.